Chapter 13 is another small lesson that shows how you can explicitly declare the type of a variable when you create the variable. So to demonstrate how to do this, I will switch over to the REPL. And what I show in the book is that when we create variables in Scala, there are no wasted characters. So I create something like that in the first example, then count equal 1 in the second example. And what I mean by no wasted characters are we type in val when we create a variable. That's how we tell Scala that the next thing you're going to see is the name of a variable right here, and then we assign it to some values. And also, Scala implicitly figures out, okay, you've enclosed something in double quotes here, so I know that this one is a string, and I can see this one is number 1, so that's an int, so I will automatically create that as an int. And if I kept going with that, I could say val a equals 1.1. Scala figures out 1.1 is a double. And then you could even do something like val b equals true. And then Scala can figure out, okay, true is a Boolean value, so I'll create that as a Boolean. And again, the purpose of showing these examples is there are no wasted characters in this code. And as I mentioned here in the book, because there are no wasted characters, we call this concise but readable, which furthermore, we just say it's an expressive programming language. And so having gone through that, now the purpose of this lesson is to show that there are times, pretty rare times for me anyway, when you have to explicitly declare the type when you're creating a variable. So I show that when you do this, the syntax for that is to say val name :string equals al. So what I do in this portion of the code, this is how you declare the type. So similarly, I could say val a :int equal 1. And so that's how we add in the type. And usually you don't have to do it. Like in all these examples that I've shown so far, you don't have to do that. Usually I find that when I'm working with a third-party library, and let's say its methods or functions don't have really good names or something like that, that's when you want to declare the type. So you might say, for example, let's say val x. Well, let me go ahead and type this. So val x equals some method with some poorly named method. Right. So that's how you would call a method or a function in Scala. And when you have no idea, what it is, or you can't look at that name and figure out what the type is that it's returning, that's when you would come over here, you'd back up and you'd say, oh, I want to declare the type here explicitly because I can't tell what this part of the code is really doing. So this makes, when I declare the type explicitly here, that makes my code easier to read. And so that's the whole purpose, again, of this lesson, or the primary purpose of this lesson, is to show that normally we will create variables like this in what I call the implicit format, where you don't have to declare the data type, but there are occasions where you want to explicitly declare the data type. And when you do that, you just put the type after the variable name. So you do a colon and then the data type right there. And so once again, whenever you finish a lesson like this, hop on over to the exercises. The URL is shown up here. It's also shown in the book. And this was chapter 13 on showing the data type. So you click here, and then you can go through the exercises. And that'll give you a little hint about what those exercises are. So the whole purpose of the book, again, very small lessons. I give you examples in the book, examples. You can get that code off of GitHub, all the example code, and then come to this URL and work through the exercises and test your understanding. In summary, that was the video version of chapter 13 from my book, Learn Scala 3 the Fast Way. And this lesson was on explicitly declaring the data type when you create new variables. My name is Alvin Alexander, and I hope you enjoyed this.